Welcome to UBTV, motherfucker. I'm here to kiss some spiritual ass and say my piece. On God, twin. Neon nigga for feather man. Yeah, yeah. And I even got my shades on today. But today I'm gonna be talking about sin and actuality. Gonna talk about the seven deadly sins too and shit like that, and a better way or a broader way how to perceive these things. So to make it not some like spooked out ass shit or like some super religious shit, right? Sin, just in a short summary, is you being lost in something. Now, being especially in the physical form right now, our spirit like to create minds, aka thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions. But being in a thought, idea, feeling, emotion is that right there. It's in something. So if you're in a thought, you're in a feeling, you're in an expression, you in a body, you're in a mind, you also are in a physical body. So sin just refers to like that S, like that snake, is like being in your desires and stuff like that. So if you're in your desires, you're in something. So that means you committing a sin in general from you uh being in something. Now, you could turn it into some goddamn, oh, well, wouldn't that mean everyone born sinners because this and the third? I mean, in a sense, yeah, right? Like we're born into this physical flesh right now, but our spirit, aka the space we in, aka our individuality, aka from us being spirits in a body and stuff like that, right? Just look at your spirit, your space. Look at that as like all possibilities, and all these possibilities is gonna birth and create your mind. So it makes you be sentient. So it makes you be individualistic. It makes you have your own mind. So you're crafting these things, you're creating these things, and these things turn into your creation. So based upon you being the observer, you're being the creator, you having your own mind, you having your own body, you having your own individuality, you have your own state of being, your natural state of being, and you being yourself, right? You're gonna create a whole bunch of thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions, aka Adams and Eves, aka men and women. So it's like from you having your individualistic mind, right? And you having that broader sense more than like a dog or like a cat or like a shark or like an animal or like a bug and stuff like that. You was able to keep yourself in a broad state of being of trying to be something greater than yourself, and being something greater than yourself makes you be into that space to where you're more individualistic. You're more in different spaces, and from you being in different spaces, aka getting more experiences, aka all the way down to you putting yourself in different surroundings, different environments, different atmospheres, different vibrations, different vibes, picking up different vibes from other people and stuff like that, going through different experiences, going through ups and downs and stuff like that, right? From you going through all these things and then you standing strong in that firmament, aka your individuality and who you are as a person and stuff like that, and not getting super like flunked out and stuff like that, and you learning from your experiences and trying to gain new experiences, and then you're gonna get grace because it's your first time experiencing these things. So you putting yourself in a more productive, creative type space, and you try to create something of yourself to build yourself up, right? It's gonna lead to you conquering your dreams and your imaginations, aka what you feel like you lack, what you were paying attention to and feel like you haven't done, what you haven't accomplished, to get more knowledge and more wisdom and experience a journey through these things, all the way down to you experiencing things in this physical form right now as a human and shit like that. So it's gonna make you have wants. It's gonna make you want to have needs. It's gonna make you want to have conveniences, and it's going to make you have necessities. Now you can compartmentalize what these things in actuality of what the things you care about and what the things you don't care about. But from an overall perspective, from a whole 360 and shit like that, from a whole overall perspective, you still want to expand your mind. You still want to expand your spirit. You still want to expand the space you're in. So you're gonna have a whole bunch of different experiences that you want to pierce through and see the vision for. Have a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying, like things you have going on based upon your spiritual travel and shit like that, right? So all the way down to physical and stuff like that. Oh, you want to visit certain places you've never been before and stuff like that. Like you could be from Atlanta, you've never been to New York, you never been around New York niggas, you never tried New York food. So you want to put yourself in a different environment, a different space, a different atmosphere, a different surrounding and shit like that, right? So you end up going to New York, meeting a whole bunch of cool motherfuckers, having a whole bunch of different experiences. It could, like, regardless if it was good or bad and stuff like that, you still put yourself in a certain experience and stuff like that. And then based upon your wants and needs and your experiences, is gonna breed that. Oh, what have I not done? What spaces have I not been in? So it just turns into your desires and shit. So from you being your passion, motivation, and your desires. So what are the things that inspire you? What are the things that motivate you? What are the basically root chakra shit, or like your Mars size and stuff like that, on some airy shit. What things have you feel like you haven't experienced, and what things are burnt out, and what things, like, what are things that what are things that like burn you out, or you feel like it's burnt out, like you done did it already, or what are things that like that fire in your eyes, like that inner passion, that inner flame, you know what I'm saying? That inner, like, I'm trying to burn through this rat. Oh yeah, I see the vision for this. Like I can see myself doing this, that, and the third, because of blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like you start compartmentalizing between those things of like, damn, what are my wants and needs? Damn, who am I? Damn, what are my desires and shit? Damn, what am I passionate about? Damn, what the fuck do I actually care about? Damn, why the fuck am I here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So without getting all super existential and all that type of shit, right? That's all being in sin is, right? And we're in a lot of shit. We're in a lot of things. AKA, kind of like when motherfuckers was like, yeah, I was in a lot of shit at that time of my life because of this, then, a third. So you was in sin. You was in a certain desire that put you in something. Now, if you want to go into the context of like, oh, like when they be talking about, oh, this is like a violation of divine law or offense against God. God is just all possibilities. All possibilities is not being stuck in one shape and form. Not getting stuck in one shape and form is you being like the heavens, the atmosphere, the sky. So you going outside, seeing the sun and moon and the clouds and whatnot, right, in different celestial bodies, and then you trying to be the walking star, the walking cross, the walking emanation of these things, and you being a walking example from you being individualistic and you having your own mind, your own state of being, and from these natural transitions of these state of being, aka birth, life, death, evaporation, and stuff like that, you're gonna go through different transitions and different transformations, and then it's gonna either add on to your spirit or it's going to subtract. So it's like the art of deduction, the art of addition and shit like that of what you want to have in your space and what you don't want to have in your space. You know what I'm saying? What knowledge or wisdom you want to utilize and what things wasn't worth utilizing. You know what I'm saying? This knowledge is good. Should I use this wisdom for this, then, the third, or should I not? Am I using all my chakras? Am I using all my eyeballs? Am I using all my awarenesses? Am I thinking more broad than just what I see physically in my face and shit like that? You know what I'm saying? Based upon intuition. Because motherfuckers be having good ass intuition. They just don't want to listen to that shit. Because it's not an example of what they can physically see, but they know what the fuck they should be doing. They know, like, they first mind of, like, how they supposed to go by that thing, but they ain't trying to go through that rejection. They ain't trying to stand strong in that firmity. They ain't trying to be a strong spirit. They ain't trying to expand their space. They ain't trying to be they ain't trying to build themselves up and create something for themselves. They want to fall into what's cool, what's the narrative, what's hot right now, what's the wave. Like, they're going based upon the examples of what they were shown, but you're not trying to be the walking example of showing yourself, motherfucker. You shining your light, like you showing like your information, your individualistic way of how you go about stuff, and you turning your internal realm into the external. So manifesting something and materializing it, making that a reality, and people can gain the senses off of that shit. So it's gonna turn to people getting a sense of your sense of mind, your state of being, your like way of naturally being and shit like that, right? And then right, niggas gonna feel your individuality and stuff like that. So basically, kind of like how y'all look at celebrities and stuff like that. So as much as y'all want to be like, oh, these motherfuckers are like immoral, this isn't just, they ain't doing no virtuous, righteous shit, this isn't of good character and stuff like that. I mean, that's up from that's up for discussion and shit like that. That's like a godly type of thing for the most part. When I say like a godly type of thing, it's like all possibilities. The only thing is gonna look like, oh, like if anybody who's like another sentient being is trying to block that, aka kind of like motherfuckers who be into the industry and stuff like that, especially in the entertainment industry where they block their creativity based upon some type of deal they sign. They want to have a certain box they want them to be in. They want them to make this type of song that appeal to this type of crowd, to this type of hit, but that's not creatively or artistically or like their imagination of what they actually want to make. You know what I'm saying? Like the actual magic they actually want to make, the actual song they actually want to make, the actual artistic thing they actually into. You know what I'm saying? Like the type of genre of music they actually want to play with and stuff like that. And then you just want to appeal to strangers because of this, that, and the third. Always gonna make all this money because this, that, and the third. That is a actual difference of blocking someone shit and like not letting them do something at their own volition. So when motherfuckers be talking about God, you talking about all possibilities. You talking about, oh, you're talking about like the great spirit or the great creator. Who's the creator of all this shit? Because this, then, the third, right? So you're thinking about something that's broader than you. So yeah, there is an overall God, but that's really what you're trying to say. All possibilities and willing something into existence. So from God doing that and you being sentient, you had to do that for yourself in some way. I'm not trying to say we God or something like that, but it's like a teamwork made a dream where we collectively make this thing what it is. So you have to create something for yourself. From you cultivating and building yourself and creating something for yourself and not getting into it based upon a monetary gain and you being rich in spirit. You trying to be spiritually wealthy and stuff like that. You trying to have value based upon your mind or the space you in or what you making for yourself and you building yourself up. That's actually being with God. That's actually being with all possibilities. That's actually willing something into existence. That's actually being creative. That's actually being productive. Anything that leads to someone blocking that, they're not gonna get grace because you're not letting another individual actually be an individual and stuff like that. They wouldn't even be here if they wasn't an individual in some sense. So in that sense, you know what I'm saying? Like they wouldn't even be here if they didn't look at the world a certain way and try to create their own atmosphere, their own world. So from the more you try to be broad when it comes to that, the more sentient, the more knowledge, the more wisdom you're gonna have. And then when you come back, you're gonna be in a more spiritual, higher, or like it's really saying broad, but like motherfuckers where like, oh, y'all be saying like they like old souls or they feel like they've been here before and stuff like that. Well, yeah, because they probably went through a lot of experiences in different lifetimes and stuff like that to where they build themselves up. And the more you build yourself up, the more information you're gonna get and the more you're gonna put yourself in a better circumstance in the next life. Not on some physical shit because motherfuckers can come back and they probably physically poor based upon society and where they was born at and the way it is, like whoever is ruling over that space and location at the moment and stuff like that, right? But it's like spiritually they able to withstand being in that scenario and stuff like that. That's kind of like motherfuckers who like in Chicago and stuff like that, and who grew up around in a hood or like street and shit like that. It's like spiritually or their mind work or something way to where they able to survive or be in those certain scenarios, even though physically it feel like hell, but they don't gotta feel like that in their mind. Or like motherfuckers who go to jail and shit like that, where it's like, well, you can cage me physically, you can't cage a motherfucker mind. Like you can't make them, you know what I'm saying? You can't make them think a certain way. So it's like, yeah, you can't control a motherfucking mind. You can't make them thinking, have a certain thought, idea, feeling, emotion, or how they want to be themselves and stuff like that. They still being the individualistic self, regardless of they being in that jail cell and stuff like that. And you preventing them from certain privileges they can extend into the physical world because they going to get some type of law while being on the land they own because of this, that, and the third. And you cast a judgment of what they can and cannot do. Even being in that type of position in general is going against some type of godly law. I'm not even trying to say, oh, we shouldn't have like laws and legislations or like how you want to run stuff based upon the government. I'm not saying there's something wrong with like having like a government or like running stuff, but we ain't just gonna like switch your shit up. Like motherfuckers don't be corrupt as hell, or you trying to pass judgment and be in that hierarchy type of seat of what a motherfucker can and can't do on someone else's land when everything be colonized like a motherfucker and stuff like that. And every single law y'all be going against other motherfuckers of saying what they can and can't do. That's what y'all did to capitalize and colonize a whole bunch of other motherfuckers, or at least y'all ancestors did, and y'all upholding that and stuff like that. But that's a whole different discussion, right? So for the most part, right, it's like you being in sin, so it's violation of divine law and some offense against God or some type of moral while I'm doing and stuff like that, right? So anything that's righteous that's jumped from anything that go against some sense of like overall character or doing things in honorably and stuff like that, or doing it for some sense of like I'm trying to help people overall and stuff like that. Like when y'all be talking about sin all the way down to like even like Christianity, when they be talking about the seven deadly sins, like oh greed, lust, envy, wrath, gluttony and shit like that, like all that type of shit. Like when like in actuality, when we be talking about sin, it's like what I said earlier. It's your desires and you getting lost into one pocket of your desires and not being attainable with God is all possibilities. All possibilities mean all of them. So you're not getting stuck in one shape and form. You're not in some form of expectation of how you're going to be seen. You're not lost into some type of expectation of how you want it to go down. Right. And that's the only way you're even going to be able to have something to go your way. You have to just let go of a lot of that shit of expectation of how you want it to go. You're never going to get put into a scenario to where it is going to go your way because you're not even in an expectation of like, it's like you're trying to compartmentalize it. You're trying to control it. You're trying to make it have a certain narrative. You're trying to have it have a certain agenda. You're trying to make it play out a certain way. When a lot of time, a lot of the most unexpected shit is the thing that put you on the path of what you actually supposed to do because you didn't expect it to go down like that. You didn't have it go based upon preconceived notion. Sometimes, yeah, that's cool, right? And it's cool to be methodical and calculated. And then sometimes it's just gonna be on some like fucking we ball. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's good to just go based upon the vibe. And then that puts you in a position to get from here to here to there, to help you get from point A to B to C, to get to the promised land for your dream and imagination, your your vision and shit like that. You know, so like you ain't getting caught up in what? A shape and form. You ain't getting caught up in a thought. You ain't getting caught up in a feeling. You ain't going to get caught up by the past. You ain't getting caught up in the future. You ain't getting caught up in the present. You ain't getting caught up in shit. It's situational. Like sometimes it's good to do this, sometimes it's good to do that. Oh, in this scenario, it was good for to do that. But in this situation, even though it's similar to someone else you went through, you can't do the exact same thing of how you attacked it last time. You have to attack it in a different angle, in a different way. So it's just gonna add to your perception, and it's gonna make it be in an overall space of you have to think more broad or like bigger than just yourself. So it make you be around other sentient beings, all the way down to bugs and animals and other humans and shit like that. And then it's gonna make you look at other things from an individualistic space, right, or a godly space, and you be in that godly space or something being something godlike, not a fucking deity. You being having these attributes of not being stuck in one shape or form. If you trying to create something of yourself, it's gonna put you more in those positions. But you really have to be strong as a spirit, or have strong individuality, or have strong firmament of what the fuck you want. What do you want to will into existence? So based upon what you want to will into your existence, what are your desires? What are your wants and stuff like that? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you find convenient? What do you find as a necessity? How do you want to experience it and shit like that? And how you want the shit to go down? And then are you enjoying the journey of it, or you trying to get some type of monetary gain out of it? So it's gonna lead into something physical, or some type of like money god or some shit like that, or like some type of success and luxury and shit like that. When the real success is just you having a better result, and those better results don't necessarily mean money. It's just a better circumstance, a better result, a better situation than what it was previously. So it puts you in a broader mind, in a broader, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like how people be saying more money, more problems and stuff like that. Yeah, that's actually true, but it just means you're able to take more responsibility. You're able to take more things on, and and then it's gonna start getting involved with other people beyond just you, but you can manage it, like you can handle it because you're so creative or you're so productive in that thing based upon you being yourself in your natural state of being. And it's going to lead to your skill set, the art of it. And then it's going to lead into you using your imagination, aka you making your own magic. So you manifest and materializing. That's really what y'all be talking about when y'all be talking about manifesting and stuff like that. You're manifesting men and women, thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions based upon some type of desire you're caught up in right now that you're striving for. Like, yeah. So when you be talking about sin, yeah, it's gonna turn into something to where it's like, yeah, we all sin in a sense, but from us being in a physical vessel right now, right, um and what we being in God's physical body, and us having our own mind and our own life and our own sentience, because having life and having sentience means, right, that you had such an individualistic way of going about your life. It made it so you get manifested and materialized into this vessel right now because you expanded your space, your spirit, and then you probably had many lifetimes as different things that wasn't human, or you was already a human a whole bunch of different times. But from an overall perspective, based upon God and the atmosphere and um um you know what I'm saying? Like the overall space. We're trying to be something that's broader than humanity and broader than humans and stuff like that based upon our conscious, subconscious awareness and shit. So it literally turns into, right, of how they be like, oh, it's like, oh, you're sinful as fuck. You would do an offense against God. I mean, it's going to go by case basis, right? So when you're in that space, you have to be in a more productive space, because when you create a product, you're creating something. So when you're creating something, you're trying to birth something into existence, of something that we can sense, of something that we can see. So you're trying to manifest, and even if it don't come in the physical and stuff like that, you put yourself in a scenario where you're trying to bring something into existence. So even that in itself is being godly. So you're doing yourself a disservice or more wrongdoing when you're not being productive, when you're not being creative, when you're not trying to create something for yourself, when you're not trying to cultivate something for yourself based upon your desires. Now, it could be based upon um some type of preconceived notion or expectation of how you want to go about it, but you can't get caught into one shape or form of how it's supposed to go. You just supposed to be like, yeah, I'm into this, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna just enjoy the journey or the experiences, regardless if it's a high moment or a low moment. I still want to do this. I like doing this thing. I like being in this space. I like being productive when it comes to this in Pacific and stuff like that. So when a motherfucker be talking about you being sinful and stuff like that, that's really what a motherfuckers talk about. All the way down to even with Christianity and the seven deadly sins and shit like that, right? You still playing out these characteristics of they're showing like examples of getting caught in like it's like when you do it to an extreme. So there's nothing wrong with having pleasures or living in leisure, but the minute you start getting too comfortable, don't get too comfortable. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all the way down. It's like a mind thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you get too comfortable in a certain expectation, in a certain thought, a certain feeling, in a certain space, in a certain way of living, that's gonna end up fucking you up. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna make you as like motivated. It's not gonna make you want like if anything, it's counterproductive because it makes you less inspired. It makes you less passionate. It makes you have less of that fire. It makes you less expressive. It makes you less youthful. It'll make you less be tapped into your inner child. It make you too stagnant. It make you too mundane. It make you too surface level. You know what I'm saying? Like you never like it make you not be sentient. It make you not have a heartbeat. It make you not have that adrenaline and stuff like that. I'm just making examples, but you know what I'm saying? Like it all the way down to your health and shit like that, based upon we being androgynous as a spirit. So we have a masculine side and a feminine side. It's gonna start fucking with your hormones and your health and shit like that. That's a different topic. But you get what I'm saying? So like, yeah, from an overall godly perspective, that's the actual crime or the actual guilt or the actual mischief you actually making and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So from you being an individual, that's just your individuality and how you go about stuff. There's not no like everyone's freely is freely able to express themselves and stuff like that, right? But it's based upon the environment and the space that you in and the surroundings that you in. You can't do that around certain spaces or certain things. So even so, if you don't have no examples of doing that, why not you be the example? You create something for yourself to where you want to try to manifest and materialize a certain type of space where, oh, if you into this specific niche or this specific thing of what the fuck I'm into, I got a thing for that. I got a whole thing for that. And like if you're not trying to create something for yourself, it's counterproductive, and that's you being in sin. Now, in general, from us being in God's body right now or the physical realm, and us being in purgatory, we can get caught up in God's mind, aka that's like us having our own mind. And I'm not trying to say we are gods and stuff like that. We can be lost into idol worship and then look at motherfuckers as like celebrities and deities and shit like that. But don't get too caught up in being lost in their fucking mind or they nutsack of how they go about stuff. You still have your own individuality. That's what works for them. But that may not work for you. It may not pan out in the same way. You can look at them as inspiration, as a walking example of how to do that, but you have to do some shit like that just in your own way, in your own little pocket and shit like that. And I know motherfuckers it's gonna feel lonely as hell because the more shades and the more you don't get caught up in one shape and form and you always go through different experiences or learning more about your spirit, aka different sides of yourself. You end up doing some shit you probably never thought you would experience or expected or like seeing a side of yourself you probably never thought you would see, regardless if it's positive or negative. Regardless, it's showing a different side of yourself in actuality and stuff like that, and it puts you in a godly type space or a more broader space. So it makes you think beyond just your mind. It makes you be in less of an ego. There's nothing wrong with having an ego or you caring about yourself or like, you know what I'm saying, you putting yourself first and things of that nature, but it makes you have a broader type ego. So from you being a broader ego, it's not gonna come off like you have an ego like that. Like, yeah, you have one, but you don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like weird. It's like you believe in all possibilities. So you believe in everything, but you also believe in nothing. And then that nothingness turns to no shape or form. So you're able to turn nothing into something, right? So from you turning that nothing into something, you turn something that wasn't sentient or isn't in this existence or isn't like it wasn't a thing until you made it a thing. Because we're creating these things in the first place. We're the creators of these things. We're the observers. So based upon what you observe, we gonna see your observations and then we gonna study that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like when motherfuckers be like, man, this shit gotta be studied. Your mind gotta get studied. Yeah, nigga, you probably did some creative ass shit. Like you probably did some productive ass shit. You probably did some imaginative, something that wasn't in this existence, and then you brought it into this existence. And then two made a dream world and you made it real. So it's like, yeah. So like, yeah, we living in this life of sin because of this, that, and the third. But when you get caught in one pocket of like a certain, it's like you have to look at it like that's like you getting caught up in a certain memory. You know what I'm saying? You get lost in a pocket of time. You get lost into a certain thought. You get lost into a certain feeling. You get lost into, certain experiences. And then a lot of motherfuckers be going through trauma and stuff like that. And like they pass or like what they've been through and stuff like that. They never can it's like a constant like WandaVision type shit, like a constant repeat. You get sucked into that realm of reality and world and stuff like that to where that is all you're gonna experience and stuff like that. So is this gonna turn from eventually it's going to turn to self-projecting. So anything you self-reflecting, you just projecting, you didn't like how your life turned out. And you get stuck into a pocket of time. You wish you did something more with your life. So it's like, yeah, like you better get to it, motherfucker. You doing some sinful ass shit. You doing some wicked work, bro. Yeah, like that. That's really going against godly law of like you not freely expressing yourself because you being free as a spirit is you being free in your mind and you being free in the physical and shit like that. Now it don't mean just being on some like whoop-de-doo type shit, but yeah, you just able to take responsibility and accountability of what you created for yourself. You created that life for yourself. You created like you're only in the situation you're in because you put yourself there. The more you don't like try to fight against that and things of that nature, right? It's just gonna put you in a more sensible state of being. So you get more lost into your desires. So you get more lost into something. You get lost to a pocket of time and shit like that. That's why niggas be like lost into nostalgia and shit like that. You ain't trying to create some new memories, some new shit. You get lost into the nostalgia of what things used to be. But it's like, motherfucker, you could do that again. And then you older. So it's gonna pan out in a different type way and you more mature. So it's like, motherfuckers ain't really living their life for real. Like that's basically what it turns to. And even if you ain't living that up in the physical, nigga, who's to say you can't make up some type of feeling or emotion or some type of intention? Because it's really based upon intentions, right? It's really based upon intentions and what you intend to do, based upon what you pay attention to. So based upon your attention, it creates a tension span. It creates like a friction. It creates like it creates like an orb. It creates like a vibe. Like it literally starts expanding, contracting as experience. So like you expand out of a mind to condense into another mind, and then it get condensed into the physical. So it's like yeah, like like it make you feel like you have a pulse. It make you feel like it all the way down to adrenaline and shit like all the way down. It's my shit paused because my fucking phone about that out. But yeah, it turns to like adrenaline and shit like that, right? So based upon that adrenaline and shit like that, you start, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you feel like you real, like you feel like you got sense, you feel like you have a life, you feel like you actually live it in existence. You actually did some shit. You know what I'm saying? And then based upon your life is your lifestyle. So it's your style of how you want to live your life. So some motherfuckers want to be rock stars and shit like that. Some motherfuckers want to be rappers and shit like that. Some motherfuckers want to be celebrities in some way, shape, or form, or be an influencer. Even though we all influencers, we all like anybody can live in our fluid, all the way down to people being around your family and stuff like that. Okay, you got some family members where you don't like being around them and they vibe because of their influence and being in their fluid, and then compared to all motherfuckers who fit your space more in things of that nature. Some motherfuckers want to be welders, some motherfuckers want to be construction workers. It's just how you want to live your life for real, how you want to make your money. Just make sure you really doing what the fuck you really want to do. You freely expressing how you want to express. You fully being your individuality, and don't get caught up in one pocket of how to go about something, how somebody want to live their life, for real. And then that's like at that point, it puts you in a more creative, productive, imaginative type space, and you actually just being yourself.